Hello, welcome to another episode of the Survivor Story podcast. I am your host, LibraGod90. I am with my girl, Nia. She will say hello, but I think she's a little sick, right? I think she's a little sick. So she's just over by the couch, just hanging out in the studio right now. But trust me, she's always trying to get on the mic. You know, she's always trying to tell you guys how our solo queue matches go. You know, shout out to the main girl, Nia Carlson. You know, she's I've been with her for like a long time, just grinding DVD. So anytime she's trying to jump on the mic and say something when she's feeling better, I would definitely allow her to do that. But right now, I just want to get some rest. I mean, like, she got tunneled out by like so many deaf singers and I don't know, hillbillies and stuff like that, just getting hit on hook, getting sold by her teammates, because, you know, clearly this game is Survivor-sided. You know, that's why I named it, right? That's why I named the podcast, quote-unquote Survivor-sided story, because clearly with the 4 out of 10 chances of escaping in solo queue or even in Swifts, it's definitely made for Survivor to win. Couple quick announcements. I just want to be clear. I have to talk about the membership levels, right? For $4.99 a month, you get a loyalty badge. So right now I got it as default. It's only one person who actually signed up to be a membership to be a member, and that was Katana. Shout out to her. I appreciate her becoming a member on February 10th. Let me just be clear: you don't have to sign up, but it would be nice if you did. It helps me be able to continue to make these every Sunday whenever I can. Don't get me wrong; I'm still on vacation. After tomorrow, I'll go back on Tuesday. Still working 9 to 5. I grind every day. I do what I got to do, but at the same time, I also understand that, hey, you know, people just want to listen and just watch my videos. I think that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. You don't have to support in that way. You can just watch my videos. Tell me what you think about them. The podcast, I would love doing these. Trust me, I'm in my studio right now. But I just want to be clear, you do get the loyalty badge, which I'm gonna have updated to something special the more members I get. You get photos and status updates first. You get early access to new videos, that's including the podcast. What I will do is, if you are a member, which is Katana, she will actually be able to get this first. What you do is that, like, when you are like, I set it to only members can see it first. So then if you are a member, you get the notification, you can watch it first, and then later the next day or throughout the day, I'll make it accessible to everyone. So that means you can comment first, you can get my interaction first, etc. Member shout outs, you get that first. You get members only live chats, and priority reply to comments. So that means you'll be the main one that I respond to, because I just have to show respect, because you are, out of your hard-earned money, is trying to help me keep going. So I do appreciate that. Again, you don't have to do these. You don't have to sign up. Just watch the video. And what I like about this is that on Twitter, on Twitch, it's like you can only use this when someone's live. You can always use my chats. I got the Nia Carlson crying emoji. I got my "you can't guard me" emoji, and I also got the anger. No, I got the laughing emoji, and I got a cat. No, that's to represent me and my Nia's cat. So, you know, that's just how that is. So I just want to be clear. I just want to make that announcement. I know it's been 3 minutes. I do want to get into talking about today's episode, which is, should adrenaline be nerfed? Should adrenaline be nerfed? Oh, be sure to like, share, subscribe too, by the way. And if you have YouTube Music, and I don't know if I listen, I'm subscribed to it, so I don't get ads regardless. I don't know if you'll get ad listen to this. I will like to have it monetized if you just watch it regularly on YouTube. But I will say, if you're on YouTube Music, it's best to listen to it, because then you can have the screen locked and you can just listen to me and my chill voice as you're driving to work or driving from work or chilling or at the, you know, working out. I like to make these episodes audio, because again, I always say this, you know, sometimes you just want to be able to hear this, and podcasts are very good. It's very popular. Does adrenaline need nerfing? Let me just say this. I've been playing the game for almost 4 years now. The first person I ever played with was David. I was told to play with David. Meg was the person I first mained. So I would say most newer survivors are going to likely use adrenaline, because they're going to likely use Megs. And right now, I want to say adrenaline, if I have to go by the stats, the adrenaline is used 30. Hold on. I got the stat, by the way. I got the stat. I'm just looking for it. So it is chosen. So it is the second highest most used perk in the game, even over killer. So you have winner's opportunity, I think that's used 34 or 35%, I believe. You have adrenaline, which is next of all perks. That means including, I think the second most used one, I mean the third one outside of Windows Opportunity and adrenaline is Scourge Hooks. I think that's like around like 27%, but that's still like number one of killer. But adrenaline is number two. It is chosen, it is chosen 30.35%, which is mean that's the second highest. It is used in of all survivors. Megs are the main one that uses it, as it is used with Meg 10.58% of the time. Second would be Nancy, then it's Maria, Nia, and then it's Cheryl and stuff like that. So people love using it. And here's all the combinations that I would say people love to use. So these are like the common builds. I just want to be very clear about this. Within the last 14 days, you'll have resilience, adrenaline, lithe, windows. You'll have resilience, adrenaline, dead heart, and windows. And just to be clear, the first stat was of the most common builds, the highest being 2.56%. The second build, which I just mentioned, which was resilience, adrenaline, dead heart, and windows, 1.45%. Adrenaline, lithe, windows, and off the record, 1.39%. I mean, the list just go on and on. I don't want to go through the whole thing. I just want to be very clear that people have real builds to this. How OP is adrenaline to killers? And I just really want to ask this question for killer man. I really want to know. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I think it's fine. The issue I have with it, for me, especially playing solo queue, in which people have to really understand like how often are people playing in solo queue, like how big is that thing? Because the thing is, and we've already have stats to show that even in Swifts that at the highest MMR, survivors aren't escaping more than 40% of the time. Or if it is, it's not even 50%, which means they're still below, right? Is that adrenaline is still RNG. And the reason why I say it is because you still have to do what? Survivors. Adrenaline is just like NOED. You know how NOED works? When all the gens are powered, right? So NOED doesn't proc unless all the gens are powered. I mean, if the killer killed everybody, cool. Well, guess what? Adrenaline does not proc unless all the gens are powered. And I understand if you're going against a very good team and they're juicers and you're just like, you can't catch them, and you're trying to get that one last survivor that's death hook, right? And you're running after them, and as soon as they pop that gen, depending on how long you've been chasing that person now, I don't know how long you've been chasing them, but as soon as they pop that gen, that's when adrenaline kicks in. That has to be demoralizing. That has to be disgustingly more demoralizing. And I can understand why someone would DC or quit. I can understand that. And I would say that if you're not a killer main who goes through that all the like me, if I jump on killer and I'm not gonna take it seriously anyway. So I can understand why like I wouldn't care. But if I'm a killer main and I don't suck and I average at least a 3K or above, these are likely, as the stats I just showed you, the common builds, because Windows Opportunity already carry a lot of survivors. And I've done a episode on that before, how I'm trying to get people to understand like you can have Windows Opportunity, but all Windows of Opportunity, or aka WoW, does for you is give you the opportunity to see where things are, but that's it. I mean, I watched a streamer today. I'm not gonna say who anybody's name. Some people might know her or whatever. No disrespect to her, but like she had Windows on. She was telling people to be more greedy and be more careful and chase it, which I disagree. I don't think that you should be greedy. I think you should be patient. I think that's what we want to really instill in survivors, right? I think we want to be more patient. Not to get off the subject, but I just want to be very clear here. When you are running from killer, the goal is to utilize your resources as much as possible and be smart on those and make very smart decisions. But when you are brand new, you're running from a killer, you're scared. Anybody can have access to these perks, especially now since they made it where all you have to do is just like everybody have access to these perks. You don't have to play with these survivors anymore and unlock them and then unlock them on that character. It's all unlocked now, basically. I think that it's just about the tier levels that you have it with that person. I can't really remember how they did it, but like they kind of made the grind a little easier. But the OG survivor mains or the killer mains, like we know exactly how hard it was to try to get these things. And you know, Kate, in which Windows Opportunity is Kate's distance perk, by the way. It was a cooldown in the beginning, and some people think that needs to be nerfed again or it needs to be reworked, which I'm pretty sure the devs are working very hard to have that underway. I actually think that they're gonna do the same thing with adrenaline. But to be very clear, Yeah, Windows opportunities just only give you a leeway of what things are or what is up, versus you just running to pallet to pallet to pallet, or basically running to yellow. And what I'm saying is that it doesn't necessarily save you in the end if you aren't that good in chase. If you don't know how to, because like you can see a pallet and not look behind you like this one streamer was doing earlier. And against newer players and newer killers, if a killer is not that good and don't understand that you're not looking behind you, you're just running to loop, and they're not paying attention that if you're not looking behind you, that they can just go on the other side and outplay you and mind game you, then yeah, you're gonna look like you're a god or a goddess at the game. But if you actually go against a killer who actually understand just a little bit of what they're doing, there's no way that Windows opportunity is just gonna save you. I promise you that. So I just want to be very clear with that, because people think just because you put on Windows, yes, Windows, the thing about Windows that I have an issue is that it can blind you sometimes of like seeing things that are not there. Like you'll think that, oh, there's a pallet, but it's actually a breakable door, so you run into that for nothing. Oh, there's a window, but it's actually on the other side. It's just that it was able to illuminate yellow from the other side, so you thought you could just run there, but it wasn't. So it wasn't actually an opportunity. It was, but it's not really. To date things back when it comes to adrenaline, gens have to be done. Now I will say this with adrenaline, they did, I think we worked it before. I think it was, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember if you were in the dying state, if you were on the ground, if you were in the dying state, you literally could just get up and be fully healthy, right? So you could just get up, like it's time to, eat, or it's time for break. You could just get up and just start running. It's different now, where it's like if you are on the ground, you can get up, but you're in the injured state, so you're still running. Now, I do think that if you are mending, if you're in the mending state, I think it gets you out of the mending state, but you're still injured, and that's if you're standing up. But if you're just like injured and you're just like running from the killer, yeah, it can rob you of an opportunity if you're a killer. It can, and it can make it where you are now completely healthy, and it can make it where you can actually have a chance to escape or take an extra hit, and then that's when somebody can also body block and etc. Now, this is something I think people disagree with. I think a lot of killers did not like about this, right? Is that, should it make it where you get off? See, how does this work? I think they wanted to act as if, okay, like, how DS and off the record doesn't proc at like when the gates are powered, even though they are, or like the, not gates are powered, but like when the gens are powered, like when you complete all the gens, and that's when the door makes that sound, and it's the, the alarm if you try to open up the gate, and off the record doesn't work anymore. I think that's what killer, I think that's the only way you can rework it to that level, because somebody was like, well, why don't we have it where when you get off the hook, it doesn't really proctor, but it doesn't make sense, because then I think you would just make it like off the record. But to me, that would just like defeat the point of even having adrenaline, right? Also, to be to keep it clear in mind, I almost knocked over my water. Hold on. I also want to talk about so when it does proc, right? When adrenaline proc, I'm just gonna read it just for those who are new. Let me see. I just want to make sure I'm clear on this. It said you are full. So this is Meg's perk, by the way, Meg Thomas perk. It said you are fueled by unexpected energy when on the verge of escape. Instantly heal on one health state and spread. So that one health state meaning, if you're on the ground, it can heal you to stand up. If you are, I think if you, now please correct me if I'm wrong, if you are in, like if you are like in a mend, let's say you're going against the Legion, I think it can get you out of the mending stage. I think it can, but if it gets you out of the mending stage, it won't make you fully healthy. That's if you're standing up. Instantly heal one health state and sprint at a 150% of your normal running speed for 5 seconds when the exit gates are powered. Imagine how I'm a survivor man, I'm not a killer man, but I can imagine how that can make things even worse. That you think you're about to catch a survivor, and not only do they instantly get healed, but they run 150%. So they just dust you. They just dust you, and that's not even counting if someone has hope, because hope doesn't get like negated on that, right? So it says that, and then it says for 5 seconds you run at that 150% speed when the exit gates are powered. Adrenaline is on hold if you are disabled at the moment. It should take effect and will activate when freed. So that means if you're like unhooked or whatever, right? Adrenaline will wake you up if you are asleep when it triggers. So I think that got to do with Freddy if you're in a dream state, I believe. It's adrenaline ignores the exhausted status effect. So that means, I think that, like, let's say if you use Lithe or something like that, I believe that, yeah, you can still get it and you can still be able to run and stuff like that, but it doesn't work the other way around. Like, if you use adrenaline and you can't use Lithe for the time being, but you can use Lithe and still use that just to get you up out of there. And then it's exhausted prevents survivors from activating exhausted perks, which we just said. It says changes. Buff adrenaline will now heal a health state regardless of the survivor's current state across all tiers. So that means all tiers works the same. It's just a buff tier 1 adrenaline will now also provide 5-6 boosts. Yeah, we just talked about that. And we also got some data dating from March 2023 up to today, which is February 2024. It showed that it went from 25% usage rate from March 2023. And it showed different patches over the year, like over the months and stuff like that, from 6.6.0. I want to say in May it went up to around like mid 32%. Then it took a spike and dropped all the way down. I'm gonna say in July, back around like 25%, and then it kind of stayed at that steady a bit until it literally got to. It went back up. I want to say to about where it's at now, like 30%. I want to say in like January. And then it kind of goes up and down between like 29%, but it gets right back to like today's date, which is the February 25th at 30%. So yeah, that's what I mean when I say, like, I believe in like looking at data, I believe in looking at these things to understand how adrenaline works and how likely you are to use them in their games. And the reason why I say that it's important to know about usage rate, to know about stats, is because I oftentimes hear killer mains talk about, like, okay, if I bring up the fact that Skull Merchant hypothetically has the highest kill rate in the game right now, right? She's not chosen the most, but she has the highest kill rate. In fact, I can go to it right now. I'm on the nightlight.gg. I'm on the nightlight.gg website. So this is how I'm getting the information, the most up-to-date stuff you can see. So right now, the number one killer is being used right now is Hillbilly at 11.25%. Kill rate is at 62%, which is pretty good for the killer, of course. I actually just want to look at I want to look at the highest kill rate, because I know it showed the other day when the devs actually released this stuff. I'm looking for it right now. So Skull Merchant actually went down. Hers is at 67%. I don't think it's anyone higher than 67%, but she is chosen 1% of the time, 1.81%. So she's not even chosen that much. You know what I'm saying? So that's the difference, is that I get it. Like, you will really probably see a lot of Skull Merchants in comparison to like Hillbilly and, you know, still like Death Singer, I guess because of the collaboration that they got with the band or something like that. Mastermind is number 3, Hunch is number 4, Blight is number 5, and the Good Guy is at number 6 at 4.59%. Now, these are very important to understand these numbers. The reason I bring them up is because adrenaline, you will see a lot. So if you are a survivor main and you hate Skull Merchants, understand that she's not chosen as much as other killers in the game. Her kill rate is very stupidly high, and it makes it where it's like, if that was the devs were aiming for, it's at least 60%. The woman literally wasn't even that long ago, but she was at 70%. She just went back down not that long ago. But she's chosen 1% of the time. So you can kind of make the argument that you won't see her as often. So why complain about it? That's what killers like to say. We can't really say that about adrenaline. Adrenaline is at 30%, is the second highest used perk in the game next to Windows, and almost in every single build survivor run they have adrenaline, because it takes too long to heal. See, here's the issue. Here's the caveat to the whole thing. If the devs didn't mess with healing so much, you might see self-care a lot, because here's the thing. Self-care, and I actually kind of want to get to self-care. I actually want to get to that a little bit. Like, if I can actually go to, if I can see it, if I can find it, I'll probably look for it soon. Because the thing about self-care is I don't run self-care unless I'm running botany knowledge. Botany knowledge is very, I'm trying to look for it, but see, no one really uses self-care. I mean, no one uses. I mean, the top 10 survivor perks are going to be Windows, Adrenaline, Lithe, Resilience, Deja Vu, Sprint Burst, which is, wow, pretty good. It's number 6. Dead Heart, Bond, Off the Record, and Distortion. Distortion is still going to be there because people like to see your auras for free. That's just how it is. I'm looking for perks It says perks and build. If I can go to that. Okay, it just showed that. So I'm just trying to look for it. But either way, no. I just think that if the devs did not mess with healing so much, people probably wouldn't care to just use adrenaline. Even though here's the thing though, adrenaline is always going to be probably top though, because it takes too long to heal, and you can just hurry and get the gens done, and it just gives you an incentive. So that's actually a good thing for survivors. That's actually a good thing. Now here's the question: Is it fair that we keep things the way it is? Because at the end of the day, the kill rates are what they are. You know, I oftentimes feel like when killers complain about these things, they only complaining about what's happening in the game. They're not complaining about the end result. And the reason why I say this is because the end result shows that you guys are winning most of y'all. Dude, you don't even have to be that good of a killer to get at least a 2 kill of the match. I am literally watching streamers who aren't that good at Survivor, who don't even look behind them, going against baby killers who already got a kill in the match and got somebody death hook, and all they have to do is just bring no-ed and camp that out, and you got at least 2 kills. I'm sorry, you can make up your arbitrary rules all you want, but that's literally how this game goes. If you get 2k, you basically aren't losing that match. You're not winning, that means you're not going up, but you're not losing that match. And my girl Nia can verify that. Okay, she can literally verify that, because I hate playing with my Nia at times, especially in solo queue, but also at the same time I also don't play with people. So it's kind of like, you know, like I mean, the bragging or complaining. Like, I don't use adrenaline as often. I don't. Like, I use it, but then I don't, because I feel like when I'm in chase, yes, it's always clutch when you're in chase and you're about to die. But what do I see people doing? Even with the indicators, I literally see nobody on gens. And people always say, no, see, if you look there, I see on gens. But they don't stay on gens. They don't stay on gens. You'll have to understand the difference. Stay on gens. That's the only way adrenaline works. If you have people that stay on gens. There's times now, because it's the second most used perk in the game, I just have to assume that everybody got it. Do you know what you can do for your teammate if you literally just stayed on gens, or if you actually, you know, like, thinking that maybe they could have likely adrenaline on them, maybe they got it in their back pocket, you know what I mean? Maybe they're trying to hurry up and open it up before they die for the, you know what I'm saying, to protect themselves from killer, and yeah, you just in the basement hanging out, or you're doing a challenge, because I don't know why they would make a challenge knowing that we are trying to get done with Jen to try to escape. Let's make a random challenge where you go in the basement hunting Easter eggs, or you're trying to do some weird stuff. Now they got a new survivor coming out with a perk where I think you can all heal in the basement, as if you need a reason, more reason to go in the basement. You got survivors that will do that for free. But imagine if you can get that gen to pop and people can escape and adrenaline can come on. Now, listen, I heard some things, right? Excuse me. I heard some things of them saying that they will try to nerf it or rework it. But I promise you, it's not going to be to survivors' benefit. It's always going to be in the favor of killer. I don't know why we have this argument. Y'all know from time to time again where I stand on this. And I literally just gave praise to killer of me saying I can understand the demoralizing mentality to have, that you are having a rough game, you're trying to catch survivors, trying to get a kill, at least one, and the one that you think is the weaker link, or is the weaker link, gets adrenaline, and then you don't even have no-ed to like combat that. Because no, if you can catch them, then it kind of like makes them feel demoralized, makes survivor feel demoralized, right? Like they just go down and to no-ed. So you go from a healthy state completely to not dying to immediately just going down to no-ed if you get caught. But likely they are going to please killer. They are going to do that. So why do y'all complain? And the kill rates clearly show that whether they fix this stuff or not, or rework it or not, y'all still not losing y'all games. I don't understand that. That's the one thing. See, I'm just I'm an equality mentally kind of guy. If that, for lack of a better word, right? I believe in equal opportunity. I believe in all of these things. I believe in all of that. You know, they are going to make it where survivors probably don't want to use it as much anymore. Because if they make it where it doesn't, because see, look, there's no way they can rework it. They reworked it the best way they could. They had it where when you were on the ground, okay, when you were on the ground, you was able to get right on up and just run and have it in perfect state. Now they made it where they nerfed it, and you can get up if you don't have Unbreakable. And think about it. And then it's even worse, because With Unbreakable, it's almost like you use it. You know, I would rather use my Unbreakable first if I'm slugged, and then if I'm on the ground again, Adrenaline will really work in my benefit. But they reworked it to where if you're on a dying state, you can stand up and run away, but you're still injured. And I still believe that they made it where if you are in the mending stage, you get out of it, but you're still injured, or something like that. So I don't know how else they can rework Adrenaline unless they just get rid of it. Like, I don't know if they make it where you would have it if you, okay, I'll tell you what, I think they could do it like this. I think if you are running from killer, or if you're on the ground, if you're anything but on the hook, I think they may make it where you can have it rework like that, where they can get up and start running away and they're healthy, or they're injured, or if, let's say they're on the ground, they can get up regularly like how it is now, where they're injured but they can get up. If they're running from killer, they can be in full state. But if they get hooked, like if they're on the killer's arm and a gen procs, like let's say the gates are powered now, but the killer have already caught them and they put them on the hook, I can understand why they say, okay, you know what, if they get unhooked, it doesn't count. I think they might try to push for something like that. Don't quote me, I don't know. I don't really care to see it that way. But given the numbers of how many people use it, you know, but I do believe that at the end of the day, like killers, the devs care more about what Survivor use that are effective and meta than they do for killer. Sure, they try to rework things for killer, and this is another thing too. Killer be like, oh well, you know, well they rework our stuff too, and all these the gen regression and stuff like that. The fact that they made generators 90 seconds now instead of 80, like that alone, just like there's just things that there are things that are just like, I don't know, base mechanic that just changed the game forever. Like literally. I think they reworked Proof Die as well too. Like they've reworked a lot of stuff that Survivor uses, but yet the kill rate has never, or the win rate between Kill and Survivor has never been like equal or anything like that. It's always been at least, if you were at least a somewhat of okay killer, you get at least a 2K or better. At least that. So if you were a decent killer, man, you definitely Adrenaline, Breakable, Off the Record, all this stuff that y'all complain about made for this, all this stuff, like, you know, all of this stuff for the people, it never really mattered. Killers are still winning their games. But the only argument that killer can say is like, you can bring up skull merchants, you can bring up the night players, but they're not top 10 at least. In fact, I can actually see, I want to see where the night is. The night is, because I just said skull merchants, she chose like less, like 1% of the time. If I go to killers, if we go here, let me see, Hillbilly and all that stuff, I'm just gonna see what the night is. So the night is like, he's chosen 3% of the time. So 3% of the time you're gonna see night players. You know, so he's not even, so let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So he's not even top 10 killer that people use. But his kill rate is 53%. You know, to me, that's still over half, and that's if you're average. So I don't know. I don't want to ramble because there's not much to talk about. In closing, I will say this, right? And usually, if at max, I try to make it an hour. But if I can't go on too much more, I won't make it too much because I don't want to just repeat myself and just sound like I'm rambling. I will say this. I think Adrenaline is fine. I can understand if they're saying, hey, you know what? If you get hooked, if I already catch you before the gens are powered or the gates are powered, when people complete all 5 gens and the killer had already caught you and put you on their arm, and if they unhook you, maybe you get a boost, or maybe you aren't completely healed after that because you already got caught. I don't know. I don't know if they'll do that. I can understand why they might do that. And then I guarantee you might see like a little less. You might, I mean, it still might be top 10 because you got to think about it. Not everybody's going to get caught at that time. You know, there are survivors who don't have med kits. They don't have self-care and botany. And they may use that, like, you know, if they're doing the gens, they can, like, they may be on death hook. And then it can benefit them. I can still see people using it. But I wouldn't be surprised if they reworked it that way. Do keep in mind, they've already done this already. They've already reworked it. They used to have it where you can run up off the ground and be completely healthy. I just think that at the end of the day, it's not going to change anything. At the end of the day, killers are still going to win most of their games because that's just how they designed the game. So that's just, I mean, at the end of the day, like, I just want people to understand, like, you know, it's the reason why, like, you have to look at numbers. and also do data. And if you're wrong, you're wrong. There's nothing wrong with being wrong, or I stand corrected. There's nothing wrong with it. People are so, on trying to like be right about everything, but it's like, no, just actually you might learn some stuff, because like that actually makes sense. Like you can't, like I can understand why people can get irritated seeing the same perks over and over and over and over and over again. But also the same has to be said with Killer. I mean, hey, Score Took, that's the #1 perk in the game for Survivor. I mean, for Killer. Seeing the aura reading, that's why Distortion still top 10. Like we only gonna adapt to each other. Killer and Survivor will adapt to each other. You have to understand that and respect it. That's just how it is. So I don't mind the dynamic of that, but that's just the way things are. Hopefully things will change a little bit differently. Hopefully that will add different game modes than just doing generators, because again, y'all complain about adrenaline, but at the end of the day, clearly a lot of people, I want Killers to understand this. Adrenaline is cool, right? It's cool, but at the same time, if the kill rates is showing that 4 out of 10 times or 40% of the time survivors are escaping, I mean, is adrenaline really helping anybody? Is it really doing that much damage? Is it really saving that many lives? Right? I mean, if people are using all these builds in combination with windows and all of this stuff, and they're in Swifts and they got comms, explain to me, even at the highest of MMR, it still shows that people ain't escaping more than 40% or 49% of the time. I'm talking about these are survivors who have thousands of hours. They know what they're doing. Why are they still losing? So I don't know. I just wanted to come at you guys with that. Let me know what you guys think. I will be releasing this tonight. Katana will be the first one to see it, of course. She is the member. If you want to become a member, again, just $4. I've almost said $49 a month. I almost said that. I meant to say it's just $4.99 a month. And just to support me and keep it going. But either way, you listening, you watching, you commenting, let me know what you guys think. It's pretty helpful, so I appreciate that. If you disagree with anything, please just leave it down in the comments. Just please be respectful, or your comments will be removed. You might get blocked. I'm not one of those people where it's like you disagree with me, I'm upset with you. It's just be respectful, dude. It's just a game. It's not that serious. You know how that stuff goes, and it's just people take this game too seriously. It's just what it is. We all have in common. Like we all love playing this game, believe it or not. Like I had the most, excuse my language, shittiest of games. And I can't imagine if the devs just took off the servers, like tomorrow, took down the servers, and we could never play DB. I can't even imagine that, especially me. I play this all the time, and I make content. So it's like I have no other game. This is the only game in 4 years I've been playing. So it's just like I just want to be very clear that this game is definitely well loved, and it's well loved by many people. So, and that new killer that's coming out after the PTB, I don't know why I don't know if that's like one of the lead devs. I don't know, but like he's ugly. He look like a whole thumb. Like I don't get it. But we're gonna close it on that note. I appreciate you guys listening. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment your thoughts below. Please stay tuned in for the new video of me, like my solo queue rage compilation, which hopefully my editor gets done with it tomorrow. I can have that released tomorrow. I'm gonna have this released tonight, and for it will be released tomorrow, so Katana can listen to it today. She's a member. Tomorrow other people can listen to it, and then I will have that video released hopefully by tomorrow, that rage compilation of my live stream. So again, please stay tuned to that. I appreciate you guys listening. I am finally done talking, finally done. And if nothing else, have a blessed day, stay safe out here, and peace.